What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. I want to talk to you today about something that came up, something that I've seen a lot. And it wasn't presented so much as a question to me as an observation. And I kind of wanted to respond to it. So, the question or the observation that came up, and I hear for a lot of people, is that, hey, I want to get into this business. I want to be a financial coach. I talked to my parents about it. I talked to my friends about it. They absolutely think that it's a great fit for me. And one of the things that I want to discount here, not completely, but discount, is what your friends and family tell you. Because your friends and family are by nature probably going to be supportive. Now, you could argue, hey, my friends and family are the most skeptical of everything. But the reality is, especially, there's two kinds of ways to approach this, but sometimes you're just kicking around an idea. You say, hey, I've always had this interest in finance. I've always had this interest in running my own business. And I was thinking about being an independent financial coach. And some people will just default to just being supportive of whatever you want to do. You could also say, hey, I've always had this interest in animals and love for the outdoors. And I was thinking about taking up competitive equestrian riding. And they might say, oh, that's interesting. That's great. And if you have friends that are just supportive like that, if you have parents that are supportive, family that's supportive, your mother or your father might just be the type of people that says, oh, that's great. You'd be great at it. I think that would be perfect for you. That's not really a good indicator, in my opinion, of whether this is right for you. Right. So, what the people I would ask are the people who really have no vested interest in your happiness. Right. And on top of that, the people that are going to put their money where their mouth is. So, the reality is, you probably would not, in most cases, charge your parents for financial coaching services. You probably wouldn't charge your best friend for financial coaching services, right? You probably just talk to them about it, is my guess. And so they know that. And so they don't have to worry about you asking them how much you would pay. The real question is to the person that you're talking to. And if they know you a little bit, they can probably give you some good insights, maybe on the good and the bad of it for you. But would they be willing to pay? Now, if you tell your, friends that you want to become a financial coach and they say, oh, well, I'll be your first client, because I actually have some needs, I have some issues. And yeah, you said what, it's $150 an hour. I tell you what, I'll budget $300. Will pay you $300 right now to just book, to prepay for 2 hours. All right. Well, that to me is a good indication. That is someone putting their money where their mouth is. Now, yeah, sometimes I have to look beyond it to say, is that charity or not? I've had friends and family, in particular, that have been supportive and be willing to buy my products, regardless of how junky they thought they'd be. But in most cases, what people won't do is necessarily spend money on something they don't think is interesting, right? There are a lot of people, I remember when I was growing up, these knife companies would hire kids to kind of go door to door and do this demonstration on the knives and sell them, right? And many people would say, hey, that's great, and they'd watch a demonstration, they'd be like, fantastic. And when they say, hey, I'd love for you to purchase this $400 knife set for $200, people say, not right now, right? And so everyone says, oh, that's great, they look wonderful, you did such a great job, the presentation was awesome. But when it comes down to it, the rubber meets the road when the money is going to be happily exchanged. And that's the best litmus test for, do I really think you should be doing this? Do I really think you should be running your own business? Maybe that's just the right question. Maybe you shouldn't even narrow it down to financial coaching. But, hey, am I the kind of person that you would think I'm organized and self-motivated enough and, self-managed enough to be able to run a small business? And, if I were selling Tupperware, and would you buy it from me? Those kinds of things. So if people are willing to part with their money with you, that's a good indicator. But people just saying, hey, yeah, no, I think that's great, I think that's a fantastic role for you, right? That there's really no skin in the game. I'm not saying it's not honest. What I'm not saying is, or what I am saying is, that it's not necessarily a good indicator that you can make a business out of it. Maybe something that you could do. When you tell people that you got a new job at, selling Toyotas or something like that, people say, oh, that's great, you're meant to do that, you have such a great personality and you know cars really well, and that's awesome, right? But if you tell them a year later that you're done selling Toyotas and you're selling yachts, and they say, "Oh, that's great. I know you have a love of boats and all that stuff." They just might always be perpetually supportive. But if they're not buying the car from you, if they're not buying the boats from you, you're right. That's a good sign that maybe they don't fully trust you on it. So, where are people willing to put their money where their mouth is with what you're doing? And it's not just the people you ask, but it's what are those people willing to do? So, hopefully that helps. A little convoluted there, but I see too many people, I think, kind of going into a career or business, betting their life savings, betting their future, you know, missing the opportunity cost of earning a living at a job with benefits and things like that because someone has said, I think that would be a great idea. And they're really saying it out of courtesy. They're saying it to be polite. That's it. See you later.